Hey Sasha, how's it going?
Good, Bernard. Good to meet you.
Good to talk to you again, actually. I talked to you for
Oh,
last
did we
season,
talk
so
to
it's
each
good
other
to
last? Yes, you look familiar.
yeah.
You look familiar.
Yes, we did. Yes, we
All
did.
right, excellent.
So we got questions. Let's jump right into it. Each season of Raising Kanan, raises the stakes. I'm curious to know how difficult it is to keep the momentum going for this show and to keep people engaged and locked in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the challenge. I think
Mm,
that's the challenge of any television series, but specifically as it relates to Raising Kanan, a lot of shit happens, as you saw at the end of season two. So it's like, well, how do we keep raising the stakes? How do we keep raising the bar? How do we keep raising Canaan? That is the real challenge. But to do it in a way, Bernard, that doesn't feel frankly false or unearned, you know. Um, and I think what makes this show work is that it's a family drama. And so
mm,
a lot of the stuff that seems to really resonate with people is the emotional stuff, is the family stuff. And so that gives us a lot of latitude in terms of, to your point, raising the stakes, where it's not, we don't have to have bodies dropping all the time. You
right.
know, what we can do is we can have like a really complicated relationship between Rock and Kanan and see how that evolves and see how that deteriorates and see where they betray each other and where they have each other's backs and just and that's something that I think resonates with everybody because we all have families, we all have complicated relationships with our families, and so that again just feels very organic and real. And I think that's what we've always tried to make sure, that Raising Kanan feels pretty grounded in a way that maybe some of the other series, they're a little bit there. And this is by no means a criticism. It works incredibly well. Those shows are maybe a little bit more hyper real. They exist. Our show is set in Southside Jamaica, Queens. You
Mm,
know, it's a very different world than the world of power and truth.
got it. Now, this franchise, especially with Power Rangers as a whole, always delivers when it comes to its antagonists. So, this season we're introduced to really, I think we could say one of the most darkest and possibly scariest villains we've seen in Power in a long time. I want to know, was there any inspiration besides getting this character into the Power, into Raising Kanan and bringing him into the world? Like any inspiration behind him?
I mean, I think the inspiration is sort of real life stuff more than anything
Mm,
else. I mean, Ronnie is such an enigma that it just makes him really scary. It's like and I'm sure you've experienced this in your own life. It's like it's always the guy that you can't wrap your head around, the quiet guy that all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, where the fuck did that come? That it gets real scary real fast, you know? And that character, especially as realized by Grantham Coleman, who's a spectacular actor, he's so unpredictable that it just makes him really, really scary. And I think, the character was envisioned that way, but I don't think that I anticipated or anyone anticipated how much sort of depth and how should I put it, like, how much depth that Grantham would bring to that role. He really he did something with it.
awesome. And my final question. In one word, in one word for fans, can you describe this season three of Raising Kanan for fans? Like just one word.
I think probably family. Again, I'll go back to that. This is a family drama. And I think at the end of season two, you see the family sort of laid low in a way that is pretty dramatic and violent. And I think a lot of season three is about sort of rebuilding and reconstituting the family and the notion of family and what that looks like and whether that's even possible, by the way. you
Mhm.
know um as I said earlier, it's, all of our families are so complicated and layered, and the Thomas family is no different. And I think coming out of season two, you really find a lot of these characters going through existential crises where they're trying to understand who they are, both individually and within the context of the whole, meaning the family. So I think that's really a big part of season three.
Awesome. Vin Diesel would appreciate that answer a lot. He's a big fan.
All right, indeed. Anyway,
Glad to
it's good
talk to
to
you,
see
man.
you. Yeah, yeah, you too, man.
Okay.
Be well.
All right, you too.